Welcome everybody. Monday morning. Yeah, let's make sure we have a good week in the markets. We haven't had anything trigger yet, but obviously that's not to say we're not going to. It's only 8:05. One thing that I did briefly touch on yesterday, and obviously it's one thing that that I want to reiterate. I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday, who works in the industry, and he said that liquidity providers have been hit. All right, and they've been hit pretty hard on gold. All right. And so this obviously, this move, this price action, surprised me as well, but has hit liquidity providers. People, what does that mean? It means that there's been a lot more people winning than there has been, losing. And so, they're gonna the liquidity providers obviously run the markets, so expect some, I would say manipulation. It really doesn't matter to us because obviously, yeah, I've explained this. I've done a YouTube video on, how market providers um, work, how market manipulation's a bit of a myth in the retail industry. However, yeah, it's one thing that they're going to want to get their money back, and so yeah, just thought I'd get that out in the open nice and early. Right, dollar. So, still obviously trending to the upside. I don't think you can try to sell it. How we always set up is we allow for a bit of a movement to the downside. I'd like this bit here re-triggered, did this area, this probably 100, 150. I'd like that re-triggered. That's going to trigger our trades and then potentially send it higher. I do think that it's going to continue. I can't see them reducing interest rates. We're expecting Jerome Powell on Wednesday to say that it's very, very hard for him to manage everything at the moment. And, labor market's down and production is more expensive. And there's worries about stagflation. Everyone's expecting him to, speak about that. And so that's not necessarily going to surprise anyone. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens here. Yields obviously dropping a tiny bit, but staying around where market gapped here. It'd be interesting to see, like we said, we've got this area here marked up, and it'll be interesting to see what what happens here. Can they continue trending with the aggression that they currently are? The other interesting thing is we've got stocks up, so all of them up over half percent, which is good considering it's only 808 magic number this morning. So yeah, let's wait and see. Obviously, what happens here, but everything's still angling towards positivity for the dollar. So, but obviously, like I'd said, and we'll go through that in a minute, but obviously we, want dollar to weaken slightly to trigger our trades before it strengthens. Main target for this week, I just want to refresh everyone's brains. Main target is to have an all green week, so we have had a bit of a tough day Tuesday, I think, last week, but obviously an all green week is what we are targeting. It was a bit slower for me, but obviously I'm very, very happy with yeah, not throwing any red days. And I know that there's obviously lots of people being caught out, especially all the retail gold traders. Now, let's obviously go through the news that we've got. We've got uh, Chinese news or news from China. Unemployment rate not unexpected. Everyone's unemployment rate is struggling at the moment. There's ticked up 0.2%. Production is up though. And obviously, fixed asset investment, that doesn't really matter. I haven't looked into too much about the press conference. Why do we worry about China? Obviously, lots of you will know this. They're key trade partners with Australia. So the Chinese production is what's going to be helping, as we've seen this morning, the Aussie, the dollar, so it's been holding it a little bit higher than some of their other, pairs here. But obviously, it did take a complete tumble. and obviously gold still pumping to the downside will be obviously worrying everyone. We just missed out this morning on gold. Pip this at 6:15. I was hoping for one more tap into this area, but we didn't quite get that. But anyway, let's carry on. So we've obviously got some inflation data for Canada. We got some New York manufacturing data. It'd be interesting to see how manufacturing is supposed to have dropped. It was at 7.1. Now it's at 4. So that'll be what markets have already priced in. So let's wait and see. It's important news, but it's not detrimental. Tomorrow's another little warm up. We got an interest rate decision. Actually, this will be interesting for Australia because they're going to increase interest rates here by 0.25%. So that is going to be quite interesting to see, obviously, how everyone sees that in regards to the Aussie dollar. Is that going to flood some money into it? I don't know because obviously gold is this big anchor which is holding Aussie down at the moment. We then got some employment change, but then obviously Wednesday is when our week really hots up. Wednesday is crazy. I will go live Wednesday evening. Thursday's crazy, yeah. So it's going to be a very very energetic end to the week. Let's just put it there. Right, looking at what we're trading today. So USDJPY, happy with this. We're just waiting for it to tap into this liquidity, which obviously it rejected previously. I do think this will tap this morning, and then obviously we'll wait and see. But I've done also a YouTube video. I think I've done two on yen. So go on there, watch them because it's very, very interesting to see obviously how oil anchors down yen. So that's why it's been trending so hard. It's not been doing too bad this morning, recovered ever so slightly. But again, oil up another 1.3%, so above 100. Will this continue? We want to be monitoring on the daily time frame. I actually think this 120 will hit. And if it continues, yen will be the one which is going to get hit. Why is yen going to get hit? Because it consumes a lot of energy and it doesn't produce any energy. So since Hiroshima, it's taken a step back in regards to wanting to produce its own energy, which was a gamble because times like these, they're obviously buying a lot of oil, and if oil is expensive, and if yen expensive compared to the dollar, then obviously yes, it's gonna hit them hard. Or if the dollar is expensive compared to yen, it's gonna hit them hard. Yen, I think yen is probably the easiest pair to trade. You can see how clean these trends are. You just got to wait for a pullback and then buy. All right, it's very, clean, easy, smooth. Next one was, I think, Euro. Just wanted it to tap into this area here. Like I'd said at the beginning of the week, we don't go as aggressive. If we don't have anything in the morning, I will increase my trade aggression in the afternoon. But obviously, this is what we are, looking at here this morning. We got Euro, we got Pound. Just wanted it again coming into this area. You can see why. It's been a lot of movement in and out of this area. Once we break clean through, we come back and retest it. So I'm hoping we get a little bit of weakness in the dollar. That obviously then, will pump this up into our area, and then obviously we can capitalize on it. We then got Aussie, similar thing. Just looking for this to tap. I'm kind of hoping that this one does. I'm surprised it hasn't. But again, we might end up with this price action here for London where it's just consolidating and nothing really happens. And so we've got to be aware of that. And then last but not least, gold. We obviously went for going to the downside, which again was the right direction. So yeah, we're getting the direction right every time. I explained yesterday and last night how we might see a bit of a fake, movement. And the worrying thing is the more expensive dollar gets, the more yields fly. The more that's just going to hold gold back from flying ever so slightly. Remember, we've obviously had cheap dollar and we've had trending gold, and so it's been very, very easy for everyone, particularly last year. So yeah, I'm just monitoring this area, where we're at right now. I think it's a pretty important area. So let's wait and see. We've actually cleaned through where I thought potentially might hold. That's obviously not holding, so we're obviously now in this kind of area here. But let's wait and see. I think if this area here breaks, so if this one here breaks, we got to be targeting something like this down here, which is a huge move, and then obviously we've got the overall kind of biggest move where, yeah, I'll be buying gold heavily. I might even be tempted to get rid of my Bitcoin and buy gold from here. So yeah, because I do think it would be well worth it. But anyway, I'm pretty happy. We're doing good. So yeah, but I would like this area here on the dollar tested, if I'm honest. I'd love this area just to be tested one more time before we go to the upside. Right. Let's have a look at obviously some of the questions. Feel free to reach out. Right, Richard, surely employment figures are always going to be heading lower. What with the advent of AI introduction by the tech companies shredding people on massive scale, with this being rolled out into wider markets? That is very, very true, and I do agree. However, yeah, the higher the population, the more, jobs there technically, should be, because the more stores. But it's due to, even in the retail kind of game, say for example, you've got a supermarket, all right? There's obviously more, houses popping up everywhere. I mean, we've had one in the last 5 years here. It's a very, very, very small town in Devon, and there's a huge Sainsbury's coming. But obviously, that's not going to be happening at the moment, because there is, because of obviously how expensive, transportation is, how expensive production is, so yes, employment is gonna get hit. Everyone's expecting it anyway, so yeah, but you are right. We've got a very, very interesting future, but it's uncharted territory, right? AI's never been here. AI's never dominated as much as what it is now. So it will be very, very interesting to, see over the next. I think AI, we've got to judge it over the next kind of, I don't know, 5 years. The only thing that I'm doing, I am making sure that my children are aware of how AI, works, even the smallest things. I mean, AI is in everything, but obviously, even they should understand how chat GPT works. How obviously I mean, I remember the internet coming into my home, and they used to be ask Jeeves. So that was way before Google. Yeah, and then before the internet, where everyone had this big, CD folder, and it's called Encarta. Um, and obviously it had information on everything, and it was A to Z and blah blah blah. But yeah, I'm going back now. But yeah, nice days. Yeah, right. Does anyone have any more questions? I'm, like I said, happy to obviously, we're gonna wait. We obviously want our trades to trigger, and like I say, do not worry, because if we don't have anything trigger this afternoon, we will be going more aggressive. Sorry, this morning we will be going more aggressive this afternoon. So, but yeah, I'm pretty happy. Hope you guys are happy too. Let's have a great week this week. Let's, smash it and, make sure we build it properly. Make sure we stay green because green is good. Right. Have a good day, guys. And yeah, let's smash it.